and welcome to Tarmac. Today you join us for something quite special because as you can see in front of me here, today we're having a sneak peek at this car, the new Corvette Z06. Remember, this is a name that carries more than 50 years of performance car history and more importantly V8 performance car history, and this is probably the best one yet. At the front here, this fascia has actually been optimized to cater to the Z06's additional cooling needs. So if you take a look closely, you can actually see massive radiators all along these three front grills here, because obviously what's behind the driver and passenger there is of course the most powerful production car V8 in history, and that needs some cooling to do. This car as well might look more aggressive in its stance, and that's because it is. Now this Corvette Z06 is 9.4 centimeters wider than the C8 Stingray, and that does actually make it look that much more menacing. And if you opt for the Z07 carbon package, you can have some more aggressive front splitters and various other aero bits to further up that aggression look. Around that side is where we really come into our own in this New Zealand market. So follow me around there. Before I get to the cabin, I want to touch on these wheels because they are actually the largest combination of wheels fitted to a production Corvette, again, in history. At the front here we have 20-inch forged units, and they hide these 6-piston brake calipers, which are, the discs are 398 millimeters at the front of the car, and at the back 391 millimeters. The tires as well, they are specially designed Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, and specially designed for this car, the Corvette Z06. So that just tells you the kind of power and performance needs that something like this needs to have to stick to the ground and go around those corners. Now if you follow me back here, inside here, as you can see, the steering wheel is on the right hand side, and this is actually a factory production right hand drive car. So both the car, the engine, all built and assembled at that famous Bowling Green plant in Kentucky, of course the home of Corvette production. And now we get it firsthand here, direct from the factory. That's pretty cool, especially if you're a Corvette fan who lives in a right-hand drive market. If I walk further back, a lot of the magic really happens back here. But again, to touch on the wheels, we have these huge 21-inch wheels at the back of the Corvette. Again, the largest combination fitted to a production Corvette in history. Brakes are massive, as I said, 391 millimeters worth of stopping power, and again those custom Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's for this Corvette Z06 in particular. Now I think we should pop that and take a look at the engine. A bit of a change back here. As you know, Corvettes traditionally democratize performance by taking that front engine rear wheel drive layout and then bringing that performance to the mass market effectively, and they did that for several decades successfully. But now with this latest generation C8 and then this Z06, it's gone through a bit of a change, you can say. The engine has been moved from the front to a more mid-engine layout here, and that means it sits behind the driver and passenger and over here. Positive is that the balance allows for the power to go to those rear wheels and to have better traction, and the car tends to hug the corners much better than before. This engine, of course, is the real revolutionary part of this car. So it's a 5.5 liter flat plane crank V8, which is the most powerful production V8 ever fitted to a road car. In this car in particular, it puts out 670 brake horsepower, so that's a huge figure. And what that means is the 0 to 100 time for this new Corvette Z06 is in the realm of 2.6 to 2.7 seconds. And if you know your 0 to 100 acceleration numbers, that is, insert expletive here quick. That's how fast it is. And what else do I say? Well, it redlines redline starts at about 8,600 RPM. So it'll just keep climbing those revs and keep pushing you faster and faster. And it's certainly the kind of car to lose your license just like that. This engine is really revolutionary in its design, And it is actually, again, as I said before, hand built in Bowling Green in Kentucky by Corvette's engineers. In fact, we have Chase Duval to thank for this one, so thanks Chase for making an exceptional power plant for a quite special car. Now I'm gonna get you to join me in the cabin there, because that's part of what's special about this particular Z06, is that it's a factory right-hand drive car. So let's have a walk around there. On the way there, I'd like to point out that this gorgeous paint color is red mist metallic, and is essentially this launch car in New Zealand has come with it. There are some new options in terms of the paint color for this Z06 as well, but more on that in our review. Now, if I pop open this door, straight away introduced to the Z06 brand once again through these tread plates. And there's also Z06 badging on the outside of the car just there. More Z06 badging comes on the steering wheel there to remind you of exactly what sort of performance credentials you have in your control in this driver's seat. Now, speaking of the seats, there are some really nice bucket seats combined with suede and leather. And in our particular car, we have a dual tone option as well with that contrast stitching. And it just feels really nice to be in this cabin. If you don't want to listen to the engine, there is also a Bose performance audio system fitted to our Z06 here to really churn out your tunes when you want them to. Despite the fact that this car is not optioned with the Z07 carbon performance package, there is still no shortage of carbon fiber around here. So the steering wheel, you've got carbon on the top there, carbon on the bottom, you've got some really nice carbon fiber paddle shifts as well. Your digital instrument cluster is actually also framed in carbon fiber there. Similarly, the infotainment screen controls in the middle, also framed in that same carbon fiber to really give you that performance orientation for your driving. Now, speaking of performance, there's nothing better than a good suspension and gearbox combination to really help put that V8 power down to the ground, and I'm happy to say that this car has got it. There is an 8-speed dual clutch gearbox for those really snappy shifts when you're trying to beat Corvette's 0 to 100 record, and then of course a magnetic suspension as well, because this, as we saw with the Stingray, the cornering is really a massive improvement on this new series of Corvettes, and expect this Z06 to be even better than the Stingray by some margin. Something that sets this Z06 apart is of course that massive V8 engine, so I think the right thing to do is to fire it up and let you have a listen. Corvette Z06, featuring several firsts for the Corvette brand, including of course that special V8, the largest in production, and then of course the wheels as well, the largest for any Corvette ever. Expect this to be quite the performance car, and watch out for our review where we get to put this to do exactly what it's been designed to do. I'll catch you next time. Make sure to like, subscribe, and keep an eye out for that review.